Hey, I'm Jim from the not at all famous homemade car show, Cross-Threaded. If you're a subscriber of ours, I just want to say up front that this is not an episode. The next episode of Cross-Threaded will be out Tuesday, April 5th. It's shot and rough cut already, and we've sent it to Bo for final editing and explosions. It's going to be good. We're really looking forward to it. This is a video response to an Eric the Car Guy video from way back in 2012. Hey, Jim, YouTube doesn't do video responses anymore. Well, true, but what's a community without discussion? It's politics. Now here's the deal. Eric the Car Guy is a super knowledgeable dude who has worked in cars a long time. He has a channel where he reviews tools, shows you how to work on stuff, and he's very generous with the knowledge of cars that he's gained on the ground over those years. He does a live question and answer thing occasionally, and I pose the following question to him. Why are GM interiors so horrible? Now, he linked me to a video from 2012 where he discusses foreign versus domestic cars in general, and he makes some great points. But I want to not only focus the discussion on interiors, but open it to a wider audience. Leave your thoughts in the comments, tweet them to us, make your own video, interact however you are motivated to do so. Now let's start with the 2016 Chevrolet Spark. Now granted, this is an entry-level car. You can get a super Spartan version of this car with manual everything for under 13 grand. That's cheap for a new car, super cheap. And I love that Chevy will sell you one that is completely stripped down to the bare essentials. A lot of manufacturers won't do that. But look at the exterior. That's a pretty good looking car. Now mind you, some of the shiny trim pieces don't come on the base model, but just speaking in general about the design, to me, for a car that is the lowest of the low in terms of price tag, the Spark looks cool. I mean, what can I say? I dig it. So we know already, just from looking at the exterior of the Spark, that Chevrolet employs some good designers, and they're not afraid to turn those men and women loose on the base model car. So full marks to Chevy from here on out. Well, full marks to them on that anyway. So now let's look at the interior. This is the interior of the 2LT model Spark, so it's the higher end of the price range on that car. So keep that image in your mind. Now let's look at the exterior of a Kia Rio. Now Megan and I drove one of these for a couple of days in Wyoming and Montana, and we absolutely loved it. Great little car. It's a base model subcompact, but it looks good on the outside. The cheapest Rio is a little north of 14 grand, so it's a little more expensive than the cheapest Spark, but it's still cheap. So full marks to Kia, again, for a cool looking base model subcompact. Now, here's the interior of the SX model Rio. That's their highest end of the lowest end, okay? Now let's look again at the Spark interior, if you can stand it. Where do I begin with the things that I don't like about the Spark interior? Well, for one thing, I don't care for the general swoopiness of the design. Almost every time, it seems to me, you use a curve in a design, you are sacrificing function for form. What would a car interior look like that's almost all function and very little form? Well, it would look like this Chip Nasty NASCAR interior, which, not being a fan of NASCAR, to me, looks pretty cool. Now, mind you, you can't have a production car that looks like a race car interior. You have to hide things like airbags and wiring, or some kid is going to chew on those wires, shock the hell out of himself, and maybe start a fire. That's why racing drivers wear full-face helmets, so they aren't tempted to gnaw on stuff. So why does the Spark's interior have to look so bulbous? Does the Spark's dash have an infection of some kind? Does it need some antibiotics? Now here we have 3 knobs arranged in a curve. Why? If you put them in a straight line and made the surrounding dash straight, I could have more usable room in the console. And look how Kia has handled those 3 knobs. Now, Kia is using some swoopiness too, mind you, but they're not going wild with it. Look at the swoops surrounding the Spark's infotainment display. Why? Now look at the Rio. And it's not just the low-end cars where GM sees fit to basically give up. Here's the exterior of the 2016 Malibu, which costs a little over 21 grand. That is not a bad-looking car. This is a mid-size sedan, so we're still in the lower end of the price range for all GM cars, but they've taken steps to make the outside look cool. Now, have a look at the horror show inside. Swoops aplenty. Mind you, my lady Megan loves the Malibu. She had a 2004 that was over 200,000 miles when she sold it, and she never did any major repairs. It is hard to argue with longevity like that. We sat in a new Malibu at a recent auto show, and let me tell you, those little wood inserts are so fake, they should have a reality show. They look like what a first-year art student from another planet would draw if you described a wood panel to them while drunk. And then there are the swoops. Swoops everywhere. Why? Now, here's the Mazda 6. Pretty much the same price tag as the Malibu, just north of 21 grand. Again, decent looks outside. Now let's move inside. Okay, some swoops, but not too many. I could see myself living with this dash for 5 years or so if I bought this car. I'm not wild about the way the infotainment screen stands up from the dash, but at least it doesn't look like someone just jammed a TomTom from 2005 in there and called it good. To sum up, I know from my own experience that GM makes good stuff. I daily drive a 1995 Suburban. I love it. The dash has a huge crack in it, but hey, it's a 20-year-old car. What do you want? There's a reason that everyone in the world loves GM's LS engine. I'll link to a drive video about the LS if you're not familiar. You can watch it. Check it out. GM has the designers. They've got the knowledge. They've got the money. Why don't they do better on their interiors? Is it because they know they're going to sell cars to government agencies and America, love it or leave it types, no matter how bad they look? Think about it. How hard would you work if you knew deep down that the worst happens and you fail, you'll just be bailed out by the government? If only there were a word for when major industry is owned or controlled by the government. Oh well. Like I said, I'm interested in your thoughts, Eric the Car Guy, and yours, everyone else. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to our next episode, April 5th.